everybody, this is SaberRex coming to you live with another Beasts of the Mesozoic video review, and today we are going to be looking at the Beasts of the Mesozoic 1 6th scale Protoceratops andrewsi. So here we are, there it is, and before we take a look at this figure, let's take a quick look at the packaging for it, shall we? So here we have the packaging for the 1/6 scale Protoceratops andrewsi, and absolutely beautifully done. And here you have this beautiful artwork on the front, along with this diorama that you can take out of the box and display behind your figure. And then on the back you have this set of information with the painting on the back. Now, unlike the last couple, this has been done by Raul Ramos, who did the Diabloceratops as well. Unlike the Styracosaurus and the Zuniceratops. Forgive me, I cannot talk today. Now, in addition to that, you also have this list of figures with the Wave 1 Ceratopsians on the back of the box as well. And inside the package, you also get this beautiful little information card, as is standard with all Beasts of the Mesozoic figures. Of course, has the information on the back, like so. And of course, to go along with it, you have this little set of instructions. Now, this is also standard with all the Beasts of the Mesozoic, and you really need to pay attention to this because this is very important, because the tail of all these Ceratopsians, all these action figures, they have a tail that needs to be heated up either in hot water or with a blow dryer on high setting. And you need to do that for about 30 seconds, maybe even a minute at the most. No longer than that, really. And then you need to pop the tail, after it's been heated, into the dumbbell joint at the base of the hips, right here. If you don't do that, if you don't warm the tail up with either hot air or hot water, you're going to get really frustrated and possibly break the ball joint. So unless you want to be frustrated or break your figure by accident, definitely pay attention to this. So there we have that, and now onto the figure itself. So here we have the 1/6 scale Protoceratops andrewsi. And I have to say, I love this figure. This is the largest of the Wave 1 Ceratopsian action figures for the Beasts of the Mesozoic. And it is absolutely stunning. The coloration for this is actually based off a real Australian lizard called a thorny devil. And it is such a cool lizard. If you get the chance, look that lizard up. It's just fantastic. Very spiky, very colorful, and just absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, the coloration is inspired by that lizard, and I have to say, both being desert animals, this really works for the Protoceratops. And yeah, it just is fantastic. So here you have Protoceratops. Now, unlike the other Beasts of the Mesozoic figures, this figure itself only has 18 points of articulation. The other Ceratopsians, such as Zuniceratops, Styracosaurus, Triceratops, and every other figure in there, they have 19 to 20 different points of articulation, and this one only has 18, and I'll show you why. In regards to articulation, you have this very nice torso piece that can go up and down like so. Very nice in regards to that articulation. Just very beautiful articulation. The neck only has this one ball joint right here, and that's the reason why it only has 18 points of articulation. There's no extra point of articulation in the neck. So you've got that, and it can move side to side like so, and yeah, it can also move up and down. Yeah, so very, very nice. It's not a lot of articulation, not a lot of angles you can achieve in the neck, but it's sufficient enough for some really nice posing. Now, the legs do rotate a full 360. I don't recommend too much 360 movement for the hind legs or the front legs, although it is much better at doing this than any of the other ceratopsians, mainly because there are some clearance issues and you will not get a full thing with full 360 articulation without swaying the leg out. And these legs can splay out very nicely to help the figure balance really well. So that's a very notable thing about this. It has a lot of really good articulation. The knees also bend, as do the elbows. They bend about, I would say, a 90 degrees in the front leg, and definitely not 90 degrees, like probably closer to 80 or 70 degrees in the hind leg at the knee. The ankle can fully straighten out like this and move forward to almost a 90-degree angle. I would say maybe 85-degree angle there. The feet swivel about that much forward and back. They also splay very nice side to side. There's a lot of side to side movement you can do for getting this figure to balance, and that is really, really good for that. The feet in the front can also move about this far forward and this far down, so you can get some very nice posing in there. The jaw is on a hinge, just like with the other beasts of the Mesozoic figures. And if you can see inside the mouth, there is a tongue. And I believe this tongue moves, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to mess with it very much. Yeah, it may be fixed in the mouth, but it may also have a ball joint on it. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I'm not going to mess with it very much. The tail also has some nice articulation too. It can move about this far her left and right, and it can also move very high up and down. So beautiful, beautiful articulation in that tail. And in regards to the colors, I absolutely love how ornate it looks. I mean, really, look at that. It looks almost like he's got little evil eye spots on his face. Almost looks like he's got an angry face. Yeah. Now, because this is a 1/6 scale figure, this is actually pretty close life size to what you would see in a baby Protoceratops. And, yeah, he's just so large that you really cannot compare him to the other 1/18 scale ceratopsians in the lineup. Yeah, you can't really compare that to him. So instead, I'm going to show you him, Protoceratops, alongside his arch nemesis and greatest enemy. So here you have Protoceratops's arch enemy beside it. And these are to scale with each other. This is Velociraptor mongoliensis. This is the creature that would have been preying on Protoceratops in real life, and there is actual evidence for that in the form of the fighting dinosaurs fossil from Mongolia, where a Protoceratops and a Velociraptor were locked in combat to the death and covered by a sand dune that fell on them and preserved for 75 million years. So yeah, these two are arch enemies. Yeah, and if you... Yeah, and these are, again, to scale. So you can see just how screwed Velociraptor would be going up against Protoceratops. Yeah, Protoceratops probably won most of these fights. And yeah, it's not hard to see why Protoceratops probably would have had the upper hand in most of these fights. I mean, it's a huge animal compared to Velociraptor. Protoceratops is about the size of a sheep. Velociraptor, probably about the size of a coyote in the largest individuals. So not all that big. But yeah, absolutely. This is to scale. And Protoceratops itself is a very cool dinosaur. There is evidence that they lived in herds. Because a lot of Protoceratops specimens are found together. They also found a nest of Protoceratops hatchlings. Most other nests that have been attributed to these have actually been found to belong to oviraptors like Oviraptor itself, Psittipati, and things like Conchoraptor or Nemegtomia. So there's actually a very few Protoceratops nestlings known. There are plenty of babies known, but there's never been a nest found except one. And Protoceratops itself also may have been sexually dimorphic. That is to say, males may have had larger crests, larger frills, I should say, than the females. Now, this is probably based on a male, but I can't say for sure. But yeah, it seems to be closer proportionately to a male Protoceratops. And there are also two different species of Protoceratops as well that are notable. There is Protoceratops andrewsi, which is this species here, and then there is Protoceratops hellenicorhinus, which is from a different fossil formation in Mongolia from the same age. Now, yeah, Protoceratops also would have been a very fast-growing dinosaur, but its eggs also took a long time to hatch. Based on the current evidence gathered by paleontologists, it took about 3 months for a baby Protoceratops to hatch from its egg. So, very, very interesting in that regard. Yeah, absolutely very interesting. And Protoceratops is not the only small ceratopsian that is in the Beasts of the Mesozoic lineup. I will also be reviewing Psittacosaurus, which is a much earlier ceratopsian, at a later date. And yeah, I may compare it with the Protoceratops as well, because it is also a 1/6 scale figure, but the differences between them are incredible. I mean, yeah, Protoceratops is a much more advanced animal and very different to Psittacosaurus. Yeah, Psittacosaurus is just something else altogether. Yeah, just a fascinating animal. And I absolutely, going back to the figure itself, I absolutely love the scale texture on this. I mean, just such detail. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, look at all the scales on the belly, on the underside, and on the face. Just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, I love these figures in general, but this one, because of the fact that it's closer in scale to the real animal, it just really, that detail just pops so much more. And I mean, I also really love the color they chose for the eyes. Just absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, Now, this figure was actually the most expensive of the beasts of the Mesozoic Wave 1 series for the Ceratopsian line. About $85. It is roughly around $90 now, which makes it comparable in price to some of the Wave 2 figures like Centrosaurus and Pachyrhinosaurus, which are currently up for pre-order now. But yeah, it's roughly about that. And it's also comparable in price in pre-order to some of the Wave 3 Ceratopsians, now that it is available on CreativeBeast.com for the... Yeah, in regards to price, because those Wave 3 figures, they're similar in price to Protoceratops now that it's on sale on CreativeBeast.com. They're like $95, and this is about $90 itself. So yeah. Yeah, definitely one of the more expensive, definitely one of the more expensive figures in the lineup. So, but if you have the money to do so, I would highly, highly recommend getting this figure. It's just fantastic. If you like 1/6 scale figures, this is definitely the one for you. And I should note, there will be 1/18 scale versions of the Protoceratops coming out to compare with the 1/18 scale figures like the subadult Triceratops and the Pachyrhinosaurus and Chasmosaurus as well. And they will only have 6 points of articulation in the head, the shoulders and hips. Yeah, so basically only the upper part of the front and back legs will move, and yeah, the tail as well. So just 6 different points of articulation compared to the 18 in this figure. But yeah, very notable. I had to make sure you guys knew about that. And there's one other thing I should tell you about this figure. Mine was very tight in regards to its joints when I first started. When I first got it out of the package. So be careful when you open this figure and take it out of the packaging, and make sure that you really loosen up the joints very gently, because I really don't want to see you guys end up breaking your figure after you get it right out of the box. I was afraid I was going to have that happen with the Protoceratops when I first got it out, but thankfully everything loosened up over time. It just took a lot of finagling, and yeah, just be very, very careful, and don't try to force it too much. Just very gently wiggle it until it starts to loosen up, especially with the beak. Yeah, that was the part that gave me the most trouble out of all of it. Yeah. So just make sure when you get this figure, you're very careful about that, and you really loosen the joints up very slowly and meticulously. So that's pretty much my review for the Protoceratops. And this is SaberX signing out, saying, "You're never too old to play with toys. Be a toy nerd. Be proud of it. Please like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon if you want to see more. Thank you and have a good day. Bye."